Hello, welcome to my back to school night video. I am Mrs. Hoff, your child's 8th grade language arts teacher. Um, I have here for you my email. That's also the phone number at the school. If we end up back in the classroom, you can use that to get a hold of me. Otherwise, email is definitely best. I'm quick to return emails. A little bit about me. This is my 12th year teaching. This is my 3rd year at Springview. I'm actually a Rockland native. I grew up in Rockland. I went through Rockland schools, so I'm excited to be teaching in them as well. I have 3 kids who are also in Rockland schools, so it's nice being home and working at Springview. It's a great school. First, the materials that your student will need every day. Obviously, their device that they're logging onto their Zooms with. Also, they have a notebook, either a composition notebook or a spiral notebook, pencil, highlighters. Soon, we will be working in the textbook and a class novel. I put on here Post-it page markers or just Post-it notes. That just helps them keep their page when we're working in lots of different books and notebooks. Also, they can use them for notes while they're reading in the class novel. The curriculum. This year, we are focusing, doing a lot of things out of our Springboard textbook, which emphasizes the theme of challenges, facing challenges in different ways, how people react, looking at different pieces of fiction and nonfiction around those themes. We'll work on a lot of critical thinking skills as well as some speaking and listening skills. We will also continuously work towards strengthening grammar and vocabulary acquisition. Our expectations in class are pretty simple, right? Be respectful of one another, be an active learner, and come to Zoom class on time and prepared. I've been telling some of the kids that this is really a good time for them to take responsibility for a lot of their learning, right? I'm not there to remind them to stay focused or to put their phone in the other room. So they really need to kind of take that responsibility to participate and get as much out of it as they possibly can. Our grading this year is a little bit different than it has been in the past, since obviously our schooling is different. So now this year, 25% of their grade will be based on assessment. So that's their big embedded assessments like essays or projects, as well as grammar and SAT tests. Smaller things like classwork, quizzes, participation, kind of day-to-day activities will be worth 75% of their grade. So there's a much larger percentage on day-to-day things than there is on the big assessments. Last thing I just wanted to go over were little ways that maybe you could help your student if you are wondering. Encourage them to fill out their weekly planner. A lot of students have told me that it's hard staying organized and keeping on top of things when they're staying at home. So they do have a planner. Encourage them to use it. You can ask to see it. Help them become familiar with checking their own grades and assignments on Schoology. If they were at Springview last year, hopefully they are pretty familiar with that, but help them, remind them to keep checking. Encourage them to email me with questions and concerns rather than you, right? That's a great skill going into high school, to speak up for themselves, advocate when they need some help. Encourage them to seek out help, encourage them to take notes. Like I said, they will have, we'll start reading a book together next week. So encourage them to be taking some notes if they're struggling understanding it or following the plot. Talk to them about it, right? That's something I used to do as a student. When I was struggling with something like in history, I would go home and I would talk to my dad about it. So talk to them about what they're reading, encourage them to take notes on sticky notes and put them in their book. Encourage them to make sure they engage in Zoom classes. If they're uncomfortable, obviously they can turn their video off, but if they are comfortable turning their video on, it really helps. It helps us get to know each other and feel more comfortable talking to one another. Remind them to submit their assignments through Schoology and encourage them to practice their vocab and their roots regularly. I've been having them make Quizlet flashcards or physical flashcards for the new vocabulary we've gone over. So encourage them to review them as often as they want, right? So that they're ready by the time that big test shows up. All right. Like I said, email me if you have any questions. I am always available and quick to email back. And I look forward to a great year with your students. If there's anything else I need to know, again, feel free to shoot me an email. Thank you very much. Have a good night.